Shaun Johnson, welcome. Thank you so much for your time. Let's get stuck into it. I'd love to know, how's pre-season been off the back of what the team achieved last year? I imagine the spirits are very high.
Yeah, it's been really good. Because we won so many games last year, we haven't had to train too hard. No, we've been going crazy. It's been really tough. Just like sort of usual pre-season, everyone, you probably speak to the other 17 clubs, we're all going to say the same thing. So, yeah, it's been tough. It's been good. We're enjoying it.
Quite a few new faces, but particular your old mate Roger. He's back at the Warriors. How's that been?
Yeah, it's been good to have him back. He's settling in. He's a fast learner, Rog, and he's going to pick the game up fairly quick. Obviously, having a couple of years out, so I forgot, how intense he is with everything he does. He trains like he plays, and that's been really refreshing for the group to see. Someone that prepares and approaches training the exact same way he does with games. So he's been really good for us.
He's still got it, still got the footwork, the speed, everything.
Yeah, he's got the footwork even when he doesn't need to have the footwork. Like, he's stepping pads and people that just walk by. He can't help himself, so I don't think he's ever going to lose that.
You had a pretty good break. You ruled yourself out of the Pacific Championships after what was a massive year. Yeah, you're still happy with that decision? I imagine you got in a fair bit of family time, put your feet up, nice and refreshed.
Yeah, had a really good break. It was definitely needed. I didn't play the test at the end of the season. Just felt burnt out more than anything. I felt like I'd earned a break, and it was time just to switch off for a little bit. Obviously, with the focus, going into freshening up, and then being able to attack pre-season and get ready for another big year. So I did exactly that. Lots of family time with friends. And yeah, it was really good, really good. I was actually pretty excited to come back to training, which is, I can't remember the last time I felt like that. Being really keen and excited for day one of pre-season. So that was a nice thing to feel.
How do you sum up your 2023 season?
I played pretty good, I'll be honest.
You're allowed to say that.
Yeah, no. But, I'm proud of myself. Like, I'm proud of myself for a number of reasons. I think people were quick to forget the noise that was probably surrounding me, during last pre-season and heading into round one. Whether I was going to have what it takes to, get back to that level and bounce back from the poor season I'd had the year before, and not just me, but the whole club in general. And it's a lot to deal with, especially if you don't want to put time into accepting, maybe you weren't at your best. So yeah, just sort of overcoming those sorts of hurdles, training really well, really narrowing my focus into what I could control, and then getting out there and playing, the games the way I was able to play them, and the games, the way we were able to play as a team. That's something I'm really proud of, and it's something that we are really proud of as well. So, yeah, really happy with sort of the level of consistency I was able to show. But I feel like when you get so close to achieving something like winning the comp, it just leaves a sour taste in your mouth, and you just know that you're not far off. So that's sort of where I'm at right now. I'm like, well, what we showed last season and what I showed last season, imagine if that's just like the baseline, you know what I mean? Imagine if that's not our ceiling, that's just the floor, and we can just keep continuing to build and improve. And that's what I'm really looking forward to doing now.
That's an exciting thought. You must have a little bit of satisfaction to play the way you did last season and steer that team after what you said, all that outside noise, doubts, question marks. Like, you must feel personally like you have really achieved something.
Yeah, there was certainly. I was content with where I got to at the end of the season, where I felt like I didn't leave a stone unturned. Like, literally everything I had was put into the season, the finals, and I left it literally all out there. And that was a really nice feeling to have. So that's that contentment came from there. But the satisfaction part has not necessarily been about me proving the haters or the doubters right or wrong. You know what I mean? Like I took a lot of, I guess, pride in improving the people that sort of believed in me right. You know, like I had a lot of support. I had a lot of people in my corner telling me that I'm far from being done and that I'm not that far off. You know, keep my attention to what's in front of me, train hard, be hungry and go after it. And sort of when I was able to do that, just being able to look those people in the eye that stuck by me and certainly believed in me, there was no better feeling than that. Really, there really wasn't. So I want to do it all over again. You know, like we all start from square one now. So it's like, let's just do it again and have that same feeling and go, let's go one better.
I'm curious, had you ever contemplated retirement either prior to last season, even early in the season?
I was when I re-signed back at the club, I was so excited to come home. The club had been through a whole heap with COVID. My family had been through a whole heap with COVID, being based in Aussie. Borders got closed. We had our first baby over there, and it was like we just had no support. And it was like, man, let's go home. Let's be around our people. Let's get back to, you know, more so just being happy away from footy. You know, like life happy. So we get back, we quarantine, and then, all right, you're going to be based in Brisbane for next year. And I was like, well, that was like, no way, this cannot be happening. So I got to a really bad point during the 2022 season where it was like halfway through the season, 3/4 of the way through season. I just was living in Brisbane on my own. You know, my wife, my daughter were back here in NZ, and it was like just watching my daughter grow up through FaceTime was just torture. And then when you're not playing good footy either, you're not winning games, it becomes a very lonely place, you know. And at that point, I was like, man, like this actually is not worth it one bit. This isn't why I play the game. You know, this isn't what anyone should have to do, regardless of what job you're in. You know, so there was certainly retirement thoughts then, and then coming back home, even, you know, like getting into the preseason, I was like, man, like if I never wanted to go out on a low. Like I never ever wanted to do that. Like I always wanted to be like, just give it one last crack, you know. And if this is your last year, then let's just enjoy every moment. But then I enjoyed the moment probably too much and ended up re-signing. So it was like, I shot myself in the foot with that one. But the retirement thoughts were definitely there at some point, you know, and they're always going to be when you get to sort of the part of the career I'm at, you know, at my age. So I'm okay with that.
So you're just going to keep going for that high. So we could see you until 40 years old, maybe.
Yeah, if me and you are having the same conversation in a few years' time, you'll be like, dude, you're enjoying
it's
it.
Time.
Yeah, come on,
man. You touched on it just then, and you also touched on it throughout the year. I remember doing in some of your interviews about how important happiness is on and off the field. So I guess what contributed to you finding your happiness again? Obviously, it was being back in New Zealand, but was there other elements as well?
Yeah. It's this is a question I've been asked quite a few times, and it's never one thing, you know, that's going to make me just happy again. And it was never one thing that just makes you sad, you know, like a combination of things. Obviously, being back home, being able to be a dad, is being able to just like get home, I walk through the door and my daughter runs up to me, Daddy, you know, like stuff like that. Be a husband, and then having a coach come in Webby who just backs you wholeheartedly, and you just feel like he's got your back 100%. That is really important for me. He never promised, you know, that it was given to me and that, you know, it's just going to be handed to me on a plate, but he told me if I'm happy and I work hard, then he's going to back me the whole way. So they're just a few of the things that have sort of contributed to me smiling more than not.
What was your first impression of Andrew Webster?
Well, I had dealings with Webby back in 2015 and 2014 maybe, somewhere around there. He was our assistant coach. Yes. So my relationship with Webby's always been really strong. I think he's an even better person than he is a coach. And that's a really good trait to have as a coach. Someone that so approachable, someone that the first conversation you have with every day isn't about footy. There's a genuine care there. So he knows when it's time to switch on and we need to rip in, but he's just as importantly knows when it's time to drop the shoulders, have a laugh, and get around one another. So he's got the balance right so far, and looking forward to seeing him, sort of, I guess, progress with that sort of mindset throughout his career.
Did it surprise you at all what he achieved in his first season as an NRL coach?
You know what? It didn't. I can almost give this answer which contradicts itself, because I was surprised about how well we did under him in his first year. But once we've done it, it's like, oh my God, I'm not surprised. Like, look at how he carries himself. Look at the confidence he oozes, and he just pours into other people. The environment he's created. Like, I'm not surprised that we got the results we got, because he set it all up. You know what I mean? Like, it stems from him. So maybe it was a little bit of me and a little bit of scarring from the poor results we'd had in previous years that maybe blurred that a little bit. But in hindsight, once the season was done, I was like, man, this guy's got something special, so it wasn't really a surprise that we played the way we played.
Now, you came so close to getting the Dally M medal. How does that make you feel that you were right there, so close, getting you in the top 2 best players for the year? How does that make you feel?
No, it was cool to be in the room. It was cool to be recognised either way. I think, like, I'm always for team recognition over individual recognition. And the fact that, my teammates were celebrated that night as well, and I was able to share that with them, was really special. Like, would it have been cool to take that top award away? Yeah, 100%. But that certainly didn't put a damper or take off any shine to what I'd been able to achieve. And winning that award didn't mean I had a good or a bad season. You know what I mean? Like, that's just the cream on the top, sorry, if anything. But, Ponga had a great year as well. I can't argue that. So, really cool to be celebrated that night, especially with my teammates. It's probably the first time in club history that we've had that sort of representation, on that stage. So, it was a cool night.
You did get voted by your peers as the RLPA Players Champion. That says quite a lot when it's voted by the guys you're playing with and against. So that's pretty special, isn't it?
Yeah, I think there was only like 5 people that voted, and they might have all been my teammates. So. No, like, that was cool to be recognised and celebrated by your peers, of course. And even some of the words that opposition teams were saying to me after games, after when we played them, like, it was cool. So, cool way to end the year.
Before I let you go, it'd be rude not to ask your future. You're coming off the contract at the end of the season. Now, I know you were saying before you're going to go, you're going to try and keep chasing that high. So is it safe to assume if everything goes well this year, you play on another year?
Well, if everything goes well this year and we win the thing, you'll catch me smoking my cigar and I'll sail off into the sunset. I will not look back.
Wow.
It's something about this, the feeling we've got within the 4 walls here that you just want to be a part of. And obviously we're chasing something for the first time over here, and I'd love to be a part of that. But right now, I can't even think past, bro. Like, pre-season's hard, man. Like, there's people watching this and people watching us on telly every week see the 80 minutes. They don't often see what it takes to get there. So as long as I'm still happy and hungry to get through a pre-season, I think then you can be happy and hungry to get through a season. So we'll see. I heard South of France is quite nice to play footy at. Yeah, I mean, Gold Coast wouldn't be too bad, like
somewhere warm.
But New Zealand's pretty beautiful too, so I'm happy right now.
You wouldn't chase back-to-back premierships? You get that high?
No, that could be someone else, mate. Yeah, someone else can do that. I want to be a part of the first. You can never, ever take away someone's first. So, yeah. That's
fair enough. Well, okay, let's think long-term future then. Say you hang up the boots, whenever it is. Have you ever thought about life beyond rugby league, what you want to do?
Oh man, I've had to. You've got to. You've got to dial into that aspect for sure. Like I'm not gonna. The last thing I want to do is be one of those players that finish up and then sit there and go, "What am I doing?"
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, holy crap, what now? It's something that, and maybe this is. I don't know how I'm going to feel when it actually comes time, but I feel like this next chapter of my life, I'm pretty excited about. And maybe that's what's going to allow me to step into that space a little easier than most may think. But I've got some ideas and some things I really want to do that are going to get me out of bed, you know, like, and when that time comes, I know I'm going to be pretty ready for it. So, yeah, like, again, man, imagine if the last 13, 14, 15 years have just been like the entree to what I'm really going to do, you know, do in life. You know, like this is just setting me up to do something really special post footy and maybe a little bit more meaningful. So, yeah, man, like I'll be ready. It'll be all good.
Would you have a coach?
I don't think I could head coach. No, I do love the idea of being a specialist coach.
Yep.
I love the idea of sort of working with people one-on-one or in small groups. Over here, even like, you know, working with spine members, you know, young halfbacks. Our Pathways program's only going to be built out stronger and stronger and stronger. And I think if I can connect with them at a young age and sort of start to get them to think how a first grader thinks and what goes into being a leader and someone who has to control things on the field, and then we just funnel that towards first grade, I think that can only be beneficial. So definitely something along those lines. Maybe a little bit of media stuff. Who knows? We'll see.
Well, I'll pick your veteran playmaking brain then. If there was a young 5/8 halfback listening to this and they want to achieve what you've achieved in your career, what is the best piece of advice you can give them?
Ooh, see here I get my recruitment hat on. So I'd say if you want to know the answer to that, come to New Zealand, work with me. All right, plan the Warriors system, and we can go places, baby.
I love it. Well, thank you so much for your time, Shaun. It's been an absolute pleasure as always. All the very best in 2024. Maybe we'll see you sail off into the sunset with your cigar.
Oh, fingers crossed. Thank you for having me.